friends, my name is Happy Viking and welcome to Progtoberfest, a month-long special event where every Friday for the next 4 weeks I will showcase a progressive metal band, a band that pushes the boundaries of metal and music as a whole into weird and unusual places, all the while keeping it cool, stylish, and super fun to listen to. So let's kick things off right with the swell, swashbuckling stylings of Wilderun.
Nightfall draws ever near. In the silence, all you can hear. Wait on this when the legend focus falls away. Shadows creeping, forest below. The sun has set, no light left to show. The memory to burst is colors to your own. The black and glow.
I've had my eye on Wilderun for a while, and the reason why is that Wilderun is the fucking dopest. Wilderun hits you like a 10-ton broadside up the backside from the east side, courtesy of some surly burly Boston boys serving up some real American folk metal. Yeah, that's not something you hear too often. Despite its almost obnoxious popularity in Europe and abroad, folk metal has always had a limited fan base in North America. Probably because North America fucking sucks ass and they still think that this Renaissance fair bullshit will give them the gay. I mean, that's my ongoing theory at the very least, but seriously, what's so gay about romantic tongues and tight pants and puffy purple blouses and... Folk heritage simply isn't cool over here, but Wilderun was formed in spite of this, with the intention of creating a uniquely American folk metal band, one that drew influences from the folk songs, sea shanties, and broadside ballads of colonial times, and combined them with the rich grandiosity of heavy fucking metal. Without saying that Wilderun has succeeded completely, and that in itself is a wicked feat. But Wilderun goes far beyond being merely catchy and merely competent. Now, as part of Progtoberfest, you can rest assured that Wilderun is a little more ambitious than that. The band is technically folk metal, but it's also equal parts progressive death metal and symphonic black metal, and Wilderun can mix and fade between all three effortlessly. They can growl, shred, and tear it up like the Wolfman overdosing on his own beast mode, all while keeping the tune smooth, soothing, and sultry with dulcimers, auto harps, and mandolins. When it comes to partying and getting down, Wilderun likes to keep it hard and soft at the same time, because they like to keep it cool for the dudes and hot for the ladies, man. The band, I feel, has a very romantic sound. Especially when the mandolin gets thrown into the mix, son, you don't even know, because a mandolin is basically like a sex banjo, an overwhelming auditory aphrodisiac. See, a banjo is for ugly bumpkins, whereas a mandolin is for bumpin' uglies. Mandolins are a love-making instrument, and Wilderun whips it out so much that you'd think they were trying to seduce you with it. And they probably are. Especially when singer Evan Barry's on the case. That guy has just the right tone and timbre of voice to lock on to the resonance frequency of your G-spot and make it explode like a fruit gusher.
For now we will surrender to the fading sun. We'll awaken, we'll find intentions and action are one. So don't despair if you can't find your mind. For tonight we drink together from the goblets of time.
Generally speaking, Wilderun's music is extremely easy on the ear, and their love of jaunty acoustic strings and powerful brass gives their music a very maritime kind of quality. especially Olden Tales and Deathly Trails, a metal album that sounds like it was inspired by Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is pretty fucking sick, I must say. Hell, Stormalong shows up in the game proper as an unlockable sea shanty, along with the Coasts of High Barbaree.
And so sail we. Oh no, I'm not a pirate, but a man of war, cried he. Hey, a sailing down along the coast of High Barbaree.
Granted, thanks to the band's handiwork, Wilderun's version is slightly different. The band has done a few of these majestic renditions of old songs and ballads, but Wilderun always strives to expand upon them in interesting ways, giving old-school tunes a fresh coat of progressive paint, with exciting, electrifying results. The band Wilderun is most often compared to is Turisaz, and while they are both extremely good bands with a shared fondness for dramatic symphonia and singers with dark, mysterious phone sex voices, I think the two bands are quite different, and it's the differences between them that makes Wilderun so compelling, the most prominent difference being in their songwriting. For instance, Turisaz is typically very straightforward in their song structures, using the traditional verse, chorus, bridge, whatever format, whereas Wilderun completely refuses to put up with that grade 8 high school bullshit. Wilderun songs are structured less like radio singles and more like symphonic movements. They make these long, sprawling, 7-minute long roller coasters of motifs, refrains, interludes, climaxes, and post-coital afterglows. Every song they make is an excellent adventure through a vast wilderness of glorious golden highs and cold, melancholy lows. So basically, in terms of composition, Turisaz is perfectly solid. But Wilderun, however, is perfectly fluid, and it's a fluidity and flexibility that allows Wilderun to fully explore what they can do with their music, and the results they get for it speak for themselves.
Nothing I've learned holds its meaning when the soul is cast out of its home, and the scars of my strength never deepening. The stars turn their heads from the tears I have shed. The key had always been my treasure, when the lock was the much greater prize. The forest looks straight through the lies I felt inside.
Their sophomore album, Sleep at the Edge of the Earth, is a massive departure in tone from their first release. Wilderun still has the same lineup and instrumentation, but one of their goals on making Sleep was to make the heavy parts heavier and the soft parts softer, which resulted in a much more stark, melancholy, and overall dynamic album. And people seem to be comparing them less to Turisaz nowadays and more to Opeth.
Damn!
Damn! That's a compliment so strong that I think the listeners are trying to seduce Evan Barry right back. I mean, if you play progressive death metal and your work is getting frequent comparisons to Opeth, the most famous and critically acclaimed progressive death metal band on the planet, you might just win. You might just win at life as a whole as a unified concept. You know, I think. But don't just listen to me say it. Listen to the music.
The shield, not the sword. Bring me a coward's last reward. 'Cause if you grant me the power to fight this battle, I will keep begging you for more. We'll force the idea in our minds, but the story beyond the war must be defined. But wherever we tread, our roots shall be planted.
I have done a more than adequate job of evangelizing the godliness of Wilderun, so let's commit some good old-fashioned sacrilege and bitch about the faults in our stars. Don't worry, there aren't that many. In my opinion, Evan Barry's harsh vocals aren't as good as his cleans. His clean is very precise and emotive, while his death growls sound choked out and piggish. It's perfectly serviceable, but serviceable doesn't really stack up when put against his other, much more impressive and distinctive singing voice. Again, like a fruit gusher. But that's a nitpick, and like all nitpicks, it does very little to impact the whole of the Wilderun experience, which remains intrepid, dashing, and absolutely fucking wicked. Wilderun kills for fun, son, and for money, honey, but really, Wilderun does whatever, and that's what makes them worth paying attention to, because they are nothing if not dynamic. And if you don't like Wilderun, well, that's okay. Your mom didn't like swallowing either. We all make mistakes, you see, it's just that some last longer than others. But one thing that is never a mistake is listening to Wilderun, so go on and get groovin' to some bad brutal fusion of metal most mutable and folk most acoustical, while Wilderun waxes mad musical on the constitutional land of the free. And if it be so that they need dough to make their bread, then go give grain and pray that the fame of the name will spread, forever and ever, because fuck yeah, Wilderun! I'm Happy Viking, and you've just been served a frothy pint of metal. Prog on, and drink responsibly.
If I go